Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here for part 1 of our monthly exploration of nutrition facts. And I'm starting with part 1, part A, which is called added sugar. So what is added sugar? It's something that's become really kind of a buzzword lately, and it can be a little confusing. So we're all familiar with the white stuff that you might mix into your coffee in the morning, or the stuff you put into the cake batter to make it taste sweet. That is added sugar. That's also granulated sugar. Now, sugar comes in lots of different forms. Some of them that you might be familiar with just from your own kitchen are obviously the granulated sugar. Then there's brown sugar, there's molasses, there's maple syrup, there's honey, there's agave. There's liquid sugar, which is really just sugar mixed with water and then kept at a temperature to keep it as a liquid. So that's all added sugar. And then there's other kind of sugar that exists naturally in things like fruit or dairy. That's the sugar you taste when you bite into an apple and it tastes sweet. Or when you're drinking milk, it tastes sweet. That's natural sugar. The sugar that we need to be careful about is the added sugar, which this is where it gets complicated because sugars are not all created equal. Sugar that occurs naturally in food is something that we should have and we don't need to worry so much about. Sugars that don't occur naturally in the food is what we do need to worry about. Where it starts to get tricky are things like maple syrup or honey, which are naturally occurring sugars, and in and of themselves are not considered added sugar. But once you take that honey and you add it into anything else, like your cake batter or your coffee, I don't know why you would do that, but if you did, now it's considered an added sugar. Added sugars are also the ones that we find in soft drinks, candy, ice cream, all of that stuff. So that's generally speaking where the added sugar comes in. It used to be that dietitians and nutritionists would say things like, well, read the ingredients, and if you find anything that ends in the word "ose" or "ace" or anything like that, that is a code word for sugar. But luckily, we don't have to do that anymore. They have updated the nutrition facts label to clearly indicate how much sugar in each food is added in. And again, added in means it doesn't naturally occur. It can be granulated sugar that's been added in, brown sugar, molasses, agave, honey, maple syrup, because once those naturally occurring sugars are added in, they're considered added sugars. So your pack of apples is going to contain 0 grams of added sugar, but your apple pie is going to contain a lot more added sugar. And in our current Western diet, sugar gets added into a lot of things. Even things that we don't necessarily consider to be sweet probably contain some added sugar. Things like yogurt, things like ketchup, things like bread, they usually contain some added sugar. Which is why it's so important when you're purchasing food for your family to just take a quick look at the nutrition facts label and to check out the added sugar. When you look at the nutrition facts label, you'll see one line that says total sugars, and then you'll see another line that says added sugars. You might be wondering, why are these not going to be the same number? Sometimes they are, like Coca-Cola, 100% of that sugar is added in. Some other foods may have sugars that occur naturally in the food and also have things that have been added in. For example, applesauce is going to have some sugar that occurs naturally in the apple. That's going to be considered our natural sugar. And then any sugar added in after the apple, which might be honey, agave, or granulated sugar, that is going to be considered the added sugar. Those are 2 separate things. We're going to be only really worrying about the added sugar number. So hopefully that has clarified the difference between naturally occurring sugars and added sugars. And I'm going to be back next week to talk a little bit more about what that number is, why it's so important to keep an eye on it. See you then.